I mean, let's just really sit back and take a look at the journey that Alex Pereira has been on. Look at this journey. Look at the place that hit this man from somewhere in a bar watching Israel Adesanya win titles, defend titles, and talk about you, to you flipping and getting into the sport, to you coming over to the UFC, and in less than 2 years, you are now the marquee guy to go to for moments like this.
Sure is nice when you have a champion like this who seemingly can make the weight with relative ease on a couple of weeks' notice. There aren't that many champions on this roster that can A, make the weight, and B, have the confidence to beat a number one contender type on short notice. So Jiri Prochazka deserves a ton of credit as well, but all hail Alex Pereira for starters for saving the day and getting the fan base excited yet again for a massive pay-per-view, not unlike he did for UFC 300 a few months ago.
He's not a superstar, the level of Conor McGregor in those guys, but he is about as true a star as we have in MMA right now in terms of guys that are consistently fighting. There's him, there's Israel Adesanya, and there's a couple other guys that can truly move the needle outside of Jones, McGregor. Those guys are superstars. He's a star because of that. And there's no reason for that to be the case unless he did what he did, fighting everybody whenever they called him, and winning at the highest level when it doesn't seem like he's supposed to. So right now, honestly, this is on brand for Alex Pereira. This isn't something that should surprise people because that's what he's done. Even his first title fight was in a year. Obviously, he had history with Izzy, but then he turned it around and he fought him again. And then he turned around, and after losing his belt in April, he was in the fight with Jan Blachowicz in July, right? And then he was back in the octagon in November. So it's like he's very consistent with his performances, and he is very active in terms of his fight career. So this is on brand for him.
Alex Pereira. I was laying in bed this morning thinking about Alex Pereira taking that fight. And I saw a post from Adam Catchell from TNT Sports and the Fight Disciples. And he was talking about Alex Pereira. He's in Australia, or he was in Australia a couple of days ago, doing like a PR tour and just meeting fans and stuff like that, doing appearances and stuff. He broke a toe in UFC 300 against Jamal Hill. Apparently he's broken another toe somewhere along the way. So he's got 2 broken toes. He's currently in Australia, and he's got 2 weeks until the fight, and he's going to take on the samurai himself, Jiri Prochazka. And after the schedule he's been on, what he's achieved in such a short space of time, the star power that he has amassed, he's become one of the biggest stars in mixed martial arts. He's a 2-weight division champion, and the schedule has just been unbelievable. Alex Pereira, take a goddamn bow.
He was just, UFC 300? He headlined, which was a monumental moment. And now you're the guy for International Fight Week, which is arguably one of the biggest weekends for UFC. And now you get that call again, and that call equals a lot of cha-ching, 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 cha-ching. And of course, your opponents aren't exactly, of course, you're skilled, you're a champion, you're defending, but your opponent aren't exactly making it hard on you to be able to go in here, fight after fight, turn over pay-per-view after pay-per-view, and collect these checks. So, I mean, what a time to be Alex Pereira, to be able to come in here and cash in on opportunities like this. I mean, man, congratulations, Alex Pereira, taking on Jiri Prochazka.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you guys know, the face of the organization kind of changes year to year. But I think this definitely puts a stamp on him for this year. And then the 2 years ago, he had an incredible run. I mean, like you said, if you want to do something that not everyone else is doing, you got to do something that not everyone else is doing. When Dean Thomas and I are playing matchmaker, and in our own minds, like, all right, who could it be? My first thought was Alex Pereira, because he's the only one seemingly willing to risk it all on short notice and do it, at the highest level with the most eyes. And a lot of those guys aren't willing to do that. Max Holloway maybe would, Sean O'Malley doesn't take short notice fights. John Jones doesn't take short notice fights. Duplessis doesn't take short notice fights. I mean, these are all the big names in the sport right now, and none of them are willing to do the things and risk it the way that Alex is.
It's hard to do what the UFC did when things go this wrong. Because trust me, it was wrong. It went wrong. There would have been a lot of pissed off people, rightfully so, if they didn't try to replace it with something that mattered. And this fight card matters. It ain't Conor, but it's about as good as it gets. And we know that when Alex Pereira steps in the octagon, it's always going to be fun and explosive, win or lose. Because even in the Izzy fight, when he lost, it was a fun fight. And if you know Jiri Prochazka, he's a savage. This fight card is going to be sick. And I can't wait to get to Las Vegas for it.
To win 2 belts in 7 fights, mind blowing. You know, to beat 2 champions in 2 divisions in 7 fights, mind blowing. It's not like if you looked at his tenure in a fight as a fight legacy, as a combatant, combat sports athlete, like he hasn't earned it one way or another. You know, he's lived in the ring.
If you've ever seen him, pressure doesn't seem to bother the guy. I think he's thriving in there. He's had a real crap life that he worked through. I think he had a real bad alcohol problem, worked in like a tire shop when he was younger. I think he's been through it. The fact that he gets to make a ton of money and fight the best guys in the world and be a badass martial artist, he's living it up.
This is why this sport is so amazing. For people like that, for people like Alex Pereira that have that kind of, for want of a better cliched, statement, that warrior mentality. He really does. He's like a throwback fighter. Do you know what I'm saying?
I believe that if Alex Pereira goes out and takes this fight, wins, beats Jiri Prochazka, he will become a superstar. Because now he has headlined 2 of the last 3 pay-per-views, one being the biggest, most marketed fight in UFC history, where he knocked out Jamal Hill. He's not only winning, he's winning impressively. If he can go out there and beat Jiri Prochazka in the way that he did last time, there are way more eyes on Alex Pereira this time. If he can do what he did last time, so many more people are aware of him, he can go to the moon.
Look, I'll say, Pereira is a special human being, not just a fighter, special human being. And I'll say that because I've been in there with him many times. A special human being, and he's got a special ability when it comes to putting people to sleep. You can do it to anyone. It's very impressive, his story. His story is very impressive. What he's done in kickboxing, coming to the UFC, hunting me down, getting hunted, and then going up to 205 now. Like, when they do a story or a movie on his life, it's gonna be something amazing.
When you hear your rival, right, someone like Israel Adesanya, say that he is special, that means something, okay? It's not like Izzy and Poatan are great friends, and the fact that he respects Pereira and sees him as special says a lot to me. And I think what makes him special is the fact that he could put your lights out with that left hook at any time. He doesn't have to make a big swing. All he needs to do is just connect. He just needs to touch you and you will go down.
The UFC light heavyweight champion has done things in 2.5 years that most fighters can only dream of. And he does this on the heels of a Hall of Fame career as a kickboxer. He just got inducted, right? Defended, I think, his middleweight championship in Glory Kickboxing 5 times. And now he defends the UFC light heavyweight championship successfully. My goodness, Kenny, I truly don't know what else to say about this guy other than he has maximized his utility. He has realized financial freedom. Seemingly hardest worker in the room, and it couldn't happen to a better guy.
You just got to absolutely have ultimate respect. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, 303, it's not Conor McGregor, but it's still a good fight card. And Jiri Prochazka was doing pretty good in that fight. Yeah, he did get drops, but he was having success. And then, as we know how the finish came. But Jiri, after that fight with Alexander Rakic, I'm very, very excited for that fight. So, unbelievable.